bring up, and you'll bring up the screen on here.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm live now. So there you go. Good day, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Vernon. Hello, Tom. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
That was an absolute pleasure to be here and to reach out to the UK. Big Anglophile myself, so excited to talk about this and to meet the audience in general.
Yeah, no problems. So yeah, like I said, we'll just have a look at what your project is. Island in the Stars. So whose idea was it?
I'm guilty of that. Vernon has a great story, which I'm sure he'll give you a version of how I introduced him to the idea. But the two of us sort of met over this. Michael Smith, who is the co-owner of the production company, I'm the CEO and owner of Luminactus Productions in Burbank, and we were making a film. I had brought Vernon in to play the villain in Trouble Is My Business, which is a film noir, and he tells a great story. I'll let him take it, but we had this idea. We saw a real hole in what Hollywood was producing as far as just movies that are fun, original IP, science fiction adventure. We were going, well, what's it like? And we're like, oh my, there's nothing that, out that you can even compare it to. It's like things are reboot, a sequel, an existing IP. And we're like, what are the movies that, when we were 14, and you were young, that's the movie you'd want to see. Even the first Star Wars was a scrappy independent film to begin with. That wasn't something that a studio went, we've got this paper and we've come up with and we're going to make this film. It's like, no, that was someone with a vision wanting to do it. And so, Vernon, you tell it better than I do of how I brought that to you.
Tom and I were talking towards the end of filming, and he said to me, what is 3 films that you would like to do before, you either wander off this mortal coil or you quit the business? And I was thinking I'd rather quit the business before I wander off this mortal coil, but what the hell? But I said, well, he said, think about it. Tell me. So a couple of days later we were talking, and I said, I've got 3. And I said, I would love to play the pirate in Treasure Island. I would love to play the captain of the Nautilus, and I would love to do a real version of a vampire movie with the vampire being his age, not a 25-year-old idiot, but a much more mature man who had seen and done everything. And that was where it started. And then Tom and his partner they had their ideas, and they went off and put it all together and came back and said, here, what do you think? And I was just blown away, because it's always been a dream to play the pirate in Treasure Island. And here it was, I was playing the pirate in Island in the Sky, Treasure Island in the Sky, a wonderful Star Wars-y version of Treasure Island, and being the I don't think I have a. Do I get to have a parrot on my shoulder?
Oh,
well, no, not as such. Although you can certainly have one behind the scenes. But yeah, but, the thing is with something like Treasure Island or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, there was a sense of a team coming together. There were people they had their social mores. They talked a certain way. It was evergreen. I like to say it's not of its time. That there was a sort of classicism to the characters and to the story, that one generation to the next, you find new things that you enjoy in it. And so for me, it was creatively me basically making a script and then a film that is something that I wanted to see, but that embraced that feeling and said, well, what's my take on that? What's my feeling about it? Why did I resonate with those? What are the universal truths of, Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey? When you look at a classical piece of literature, there's a sense of fun and adventure in it, and the characters learn from it. The movie's about something. The best films, I think, I was just talking to someone about, Wrath of Khan is a great science fiction movie because it's about something. It's about friendship. It's about, am I still relevant when I'm aging? It's about revenge being, if you swallow poison hoping the other person dies, that's the tale that it is. And it's wrapped in this sort of science fiction adventure with characters that you love and you care about. And I think with Island, we're trying to just simply say, look, people, you can complain about these movies all you want. You can complain that this is another reboot, and this is, they're going to reboot The Office, and they're going to reboot this, and they're going to do that. But at the end of the day, if you buy the ticket now when we need it, when we're doing the crowdfunding as a first round, this is you saying, instead of just complaining about it or saying, there's just nothing out there, we are here. We are skilled people. Vernon has an incredible filmography. And what we're saying is, if you really want to vote with your pocketbook and with your wallet, we are reaching out saying, we can show people, these are the eyeballs. These are the people that want something original. These are the people that are disaffected over the whole thing. Now's your time to buy the ticket. Now's your time to buy a perk and say, you know what? Let's try something. Let's try something original.
Yes. The real Fifth Beatle from Liverpool says, "You're speaking so much sense."
And you even look like the real Fifth Beatle. Yeah, that's perfect.
Fellow Aussie playing down under says, "G'day."
G'day.
G'day back.
And so I've put the link is in the chat, in the description, and on my website and on the Instagram at the moment. So that'll be continuing on. So let's have a look at the campaign itself. Where am I? At the stage. There we go. So there we go. As if by magic.
There it is. So as you can see, we have a lot of thought put into not only the concept work of trying to convey what the film, the whole project's about, but also perks that get someone involved. Like, you remember with Blu-rays and DVDs, there was always the extras and the behind the scenes. We tried to make that part of the spirit of what we're offering as a thank you for endorsing it and getting involved.
Nice. So yes, only starts at only 3 pounds, then up, and all sorts of extra great stuff. There's the behind the scenes one.
Yeah, and I should mention, Gareth, that this is cumulative. As you move up to each level, you get everything that came before it, and then you get the things at that level. So if you're into physical media, it doesn't mean that you're, casting aside an opportunity to get an IMDb credit or doing these other things. We tried to make it inclusive, so it's consummate with the amount of involvement you want to have. You're like, hey, I'm in for, 200 pounds, you're going to get the entire package all the way back to the lowest perk.
Ah, nice. So you get to meet everyone.
Yeah, we have some really fun ones. These are meet and greets where you can actually sit down, meet with us. We tried to give back by having sort of a very small scale masterclass in writing. You get to have Lucinda there as a working producer. I'm a working director and writer here. You can meet with us, ask questions about your own project, or if you have questions about how is stuff made. This is a great opportunity for us to kind of give back a little bit and be more interactive.
Nice. So then we go over this side, and then we get the story.
Yes.
Do you want to give us a synopsis? Save me reading it.
Vernon, shall we?
Why not?
You've already done it once or twice, haven't you?
Yeah, we've done it a few times. I'll start. Island in the Stars is really it's an adventure film that is about a young woman who is sort of hiding from life. As I like to say, it's a slow drip, but she's bleeding. And she is brought into an adventure where her father has been missing, and she's been taking care of her mother in an interstellar outpost. It's basically a lighthouse for ships coming in system to this planet. And suddenly a sort of pirate, a mercenary pirate, crashes, and he's got an object with him that he seems to be protecting, and he gets attacked by another one. And this whole thing starts to destroy the inn she's working in, to cause calamity. And it turns out this object, only she, by touching it, can open it. Only she seems to be the key. And it seems to lead somehow to where her missing father might be. And so she has mentors around her, a naval doctor, it's sort of the classic pulp tropes, adventurer who loves, he's an ex-military guy, loves to go on adventure. She has a mentor who's a scientist doctor. They go and hire a ship from a character named Argentum. that is Vernon Wells, and he's a very sort of duplicitous character. He seems to be a father figure to her, and he seems to be showing her the ropes of adventure. But at the same time, he seems to be on his own side at the same time. And so they decide to go on this adventure where the object is pointing to a potential place where it's the last place that her father existed, and she has to survive a mutiny, other pirates attacking, her own internal struggles with, is she good enough? You know, she's very much a flawed character who does not believe she has the abilities to do things and needs to learn. She has a lot to learn on this, and makes some mistakes. And at the end of the day, Vernon's character becomes a pivotal point in a decision that she needs to make that will determine the course of her life, and also the future of this endeavor, this journey they're going to an island in the stars.
Oh. There you go.
Yep. I think you probably got it there.
Without going into spoilers.
That's right. I've been living with it. Yeah.
Give you a 9 out of 10 for that one.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll take 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I like the character I play. Apart from being one of the producers, I play one of the leads. I like the character I play because you're never quite sure. He's very duplicitous. He's good and he's bad, but is he bad enough to hurt her or to destroy her, or is he good enough to help her? And so it all boils down to what time of day it is and what I feel like. Am I going to gain anything from it, or is it just going to be a waste of time? And he's very much that type of character. And I mean, in the end, when they separate, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but when they separate, it is this wonderful thing which wraps up both of their characters of what they've been like. So he's very much the helpful uncle who's in it because there may be something he can get out of it, but then again, maybe he can help her achieve what she needs to achieve. And I think that's why I like him, and that's kind of that Star Warsy thing. You know, you've got the good bad character.
Okay. Now,
which is me.
Well, I give that a 10. I give that a 10 out of 10.
Oh, that was
that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's very much it. And you know what? It's really it plays to Vernon's legacy. He was one of the first celebrities I ever met when I moved to LA a long time ago, and you know, I grew up admiring Australian film in general. In fact, in college, my final thesis was the Australian New Wave. You know, I did a Peter Weir, George Miller, and everything. So for me, this is me coming home and celebrating something that I already enjoy. And it isn't just an affectation that it's an Australian film. It's intrinsic that it's an Australian film, and it's really hopefully I want it to where I have Vernon's back, and it's a culmination of everything that Vernon brings to the table as an actor, his ability to play more complex characters, and most importantly, this is a movie that he and I really want to see.
That's good.
Yeah, totally. That's nice. Just on that thing with Tom, there's when Tom and I worked together on Trouble Is My Business, he took me and put me in a place that I hadn't been, and that place was a room with nothing in it. And then virtually said, "Now act." And I was like, huh? But his brilliance as a director was that he was able to, when we were getting made up, we would talk about it. When we were standing around waiting to go on, and while the lighting was big, we would talk about what the scene and the character and what was in that scene and actually wasn't. And so I always had a sense of where I was. You know, the beautiful scene where we were supposedly at the top of the police building downtown Los Angeles, where I'm beating Tom basically to death. But the whole point was we were in the studio 2 feet off the ground doing this, but it still had to represent where we were and how we were doing it. And he gets you so involved in the actual fundamental part of what we're doing, that when you go on stage and into that film, it's an obvious choice you make to make it work, because you're there. You're not going, oh God, where's that going to be? Is that going to be? You are actually there, and it's an obvious choice you.
Oh, Vernon's.
Do we lose him? Yeah,
yeah.
He's got hotel Wi-Fi, which is.
Oh yeah, you've had your limit.
And the worst part is he was actually finally saying something nice about me, which is
always nice. Well,
yeah, it's refreshing. We'll have to have him rejoin. But to his point, I've always said something. Alec Guinness once said something I thought was very profound. He said, all actors are 11 years old. And what really resonates with me on that is, at the end of the day, it's you and your mates going into the backyard and going, okay, you're Spider-Man, you're this and that, and you say yes to it. So it really, if you paint that picture and you feel the space that you're in, it really is just tapping in as an actor to that 11-year-old who didn't ask questions about things, but just lived it and became that character. And I've always thought of the phrase, it's like, what must I become to become the character, but also what must the character become because I must play it. And he really tapped into that. And by putting him in that situation where you're 11 years old again, you're making it up, you're like, let's put this guy there, we'll have that in your head, and you're in the 40s. You know, he really jumped in with that. And that's when I realized that he was the sort of actor that you want to work with, because something that Vernon does is he says yes and then tops it. You know, it's that classic sort of improv exercise of yes and. Well, he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm all in on this. Let me find other notes and things that I can put into it. And there's so much more to what he brings to it that I'm hoping in Island of the Stars, people will be able to enjoy the sort of nuance that he's been able to, over a lifetime of acting, finally bring to a character that's shaded, you know, that has many different dimensions, which is more reflective of the man now, where Vernon is now, than even when you loved him in the 80s. In the 80s, he was this kinetic villain. He was wonderful, but now he's more than that. Oh dear, he's back. Don't say anything nice.
No, shush. He might hear us.
Yeah, now I'm back. Yeah, I was going to say I got cut out there. The computer doesn't like me.
Hotel Wi-Fi.
But no, yeah. I agree that you learn as you go. Some people don't bother. I'm a voyeur in my own way. I love to watch, to see, to improve, and I think I've always said to Tom that what I.
Oh no.
He hasn't always said that. Yeah.
Hasn't he?
He'd like to say that. I think we're gonna have to set him up in a different window.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see, to finish his thought, because to that end, you know, he doesn't, you know, typical Australian, he doesn't like to talk about himself too much about that, or really you don't want to analyze your art too much because you're worried it might dissipate, you know, by simply observing it and going, what is it I do? It lessens it sometimes. But I'm being very sincere when I say I feel like now that I'm friends with Vernon and I know all the. There he is.
Guys, so, can you hear me?
Yes, yep. I hear you great.
No.
Sounds good. Yeah, I hear you fine. But anyway, other than his aversion to Wi-Fi and audio,
yeah.
Are you there?
Can you hear us?
Might be a speaker issue.
Continue talking without me.
Okay. We will. But yeah, to that end, Gareth, I think I think he really I might
have to go out and come back in.
Okay.
No worries.
No worries. This is all part of the book. But you know, at the end of the day, with something like Island, it became a rallying point where, you know, we both have really deep Rolodexes. And unlike a lot of these crowdfunding where they're sort of pie in the sky and they're like, there's no way they can pull this off. It's like, between the two of us, we have 100 years of experience doing movies and working. I mean, that's my day job, and that's, you know, his job since the early 80s. And so this is an opportunity, you know, with Island, even before there was a crowdfunding, we are reaching out to investors, we're reaching out to distributors, to actors, to A-list people that want to do it, that we simply need to build the cash register now to be able to accept the larger money. And so I'm putting together something where we'll have a company in Australia so we can take full advantage of the tax things that are going on there. And all these admin things cost money. And
Sure.
we put our own sweat equity and money into this thing. And so now it's an opportunity to go, not only that, but there's actually people out in the audience that are interested in seeing something original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely
Are you back
that.
with us, Vernon?
I'm back with you. Yes.
Excellent. So I just said, you know, you're crap and you don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing. So
I have no clue. No, I just love the fact that Tom writes characters for me that are age appropriate.
yeah,
And
and
therefore
nuance.
I get to do what I do well, and that is to be able to do the character. I'm doing one at the moment, which I've just finished in this film I've been doing, which was quite funny. But when I first came up, they said, "We want you to do an American accent." I said, "Okay." And
Yes.
the first day on set, I for some reason I didn't even think, and I just started doing this dialogue, this passage that was very sort of scary in its own way, but not overly scary. It was just this man talking, and when I finished it, I turned to the director and he went, "Yeah, you don't need an Australian accent." So, okay. But no, I just love what I do, and the more I can develop and improve, the happier I am. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have a long way to go, a lot to learn, and I'm learning every day, and I just love it. And being able to do stuff like this with Tom, I get to put all of the things I've learned in Trouble. I mean, I had to go to places in Trouble that were, as an actor, that were a little bit nasty, not nice,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah.
But was interesting because I was able to bring a lot of things to bear on them, and I thought, oh, this is really cool. I love doing this stuff, and this is why I'm so keen on this movie. This movie is going to be so effing good. I mean, truly, it's filling a void that is very, very necessarily needing of a fill, and that is that adventure that kids, adults, everybody can watch and go, wow, that was great. God, I love that. And we're sorely missing that in our entertainment, and I think this is the thing that will just slot straight into that and become the thing that people go and see 5, 6 times because they can get something else from it every time they see it.
Yes. That'd be good.
It's very true. We're building a team, Gareth. That's the thing. It's like not only is it the people, you know, that are obviously very important, you know, the financiers and crowdfunding, but the team that's going to execute this is us going into a very deep sort of Rolodex, you know, going through and going, okay, know an amazing DP, know some amazing VFX people, got a great, you know, orchestral symphonic composer who actually studied with John Williams. You know, there's all these people that are looking for, this is the bucket that we put all that stuff in where it makes sense, where it's like all the skill sets that we have. You can't pull something like this off, and certainly not on this budget, without doing something that is scaled to maximize what people are able to do on their talents. But on the financial side, you're not sending it out everywhere and getting billed every time you want to change something or do it. So a lot of this is vertically integrated, so that, you know, when Vernon and I produce this thing, when we're sitting there editing, we're not going to go, oh, we need to change that shot. How much are we going to have to pay, you know, to change this one shot of a spaceship or something? We're able to do it right there in house, and that's something that I've been working on for 15 years. You know, with Luminactus, we have the visual effects in house, and Mike Smith is an award-winning visual effects artist, and we have Dream Screens, which is in the UK, which is the top-line virtual production stage and post-flow stage, and that's right near Dublin. So we're really building a team around it to execute it, but it's value priced, where the reason these films, if you take something like this on in this traditional sense, in the studio sense or anything like that, already your top end budget on it, 100 million of it spoken for just, you know, above the line people, administration, all the different companies that they would bring in. So we said, okay, if you look at an independent film, the below the line costs, like what you're paying the grip, what you're paying these things, those things don't change whether it's a $250 million film or a $2 million film. It's not like they're getting paid that much more. It's just usually time. You know, it's how many more weeks do you have? And when you're making a movie, you don't have two things, no matter how much money. You have not enough time and not enough money. So we looked at an Australian budget, and against the American dollar, it is incredibly, incredibly weak. So if we had a $22 million film, we're getting 33 million worth of production funds. Nice. And on top of that, the producer's offset on that is almost 40% of spendable equity back to us. So you're talking about making a film that looks amazing, you know, like Creator, you know, where he's able to make it for 80 million, but we are making a film where it's value engineered to do exactly the same thing. Tonally, it's a different film. It's much more of an optimistic, you know, adventure than something like Creator, which is a darker Vietnam allegory, you know, thing. But we are able to create this in a realistic way because everything's in the planning and everything's in scaling it and value engineering this film so that we can just forget all about that and make it about faces and performance, which is what people care about. If you don't care about the people, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. And so so we're trying to find that balance, and I think this is going to be a new wave of things where you can create original genre films, and you're not, you know, having to, well, if we don't make $1 billion, we're out of business, which is the, you know, let's be honest, that's the business model, right?
That is,
you know, and that's not a way to stay in business. No. So you can see our funding goals. If people go to the thing, you can see these are the hard costs that we're going to have. Legal, you know, setting up the company. We want to hire proper artists to do. I want to do concept. I'm a very visual person. You know, once I finish the script and the words are there, the second level of a script is what's the visual timeline? What's the visual script to this? How do we create a look, a unique look? And all of these expenses are sort of accounted for here. Anyone that wants to put money in, you know exactly where it's going.
Yeah. Lovely. So, all right. Keep tier 2.
Yeah, some stretch goals, some, you know, if we knock it out of the park, there's certainly places that we can do what's called a pay or play. Are you familiar with pay or play deals?
Yes.
Yeah. So Vernon has reached out to some people that possibly he's done movies with before. And we've gotten them to read scripts, and they said, hey, make it happen. We like it. The pay or play aspect of that is simply being able to point to an account and going, yes, we have the ability to put some money down to pay you to commit. So that's another thing that's happening either through financing or through this crowdfunding. We're able to secure a lot of the people that we have access to, because at the end of the day, you know, their agents, et cetera, are going to go, look, you got to prove you can pay something. And so we need to be capitalized. It's basically capitalizing something like a startup. You have to have some spendable funds that you can point to.
Nice.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention is there are videos. There are videos that I have out on my YouTube, and I think some of them are linked on the page. You can see interviews with some of the people involved, like Emily Coop, Lucinda. There's an interview with Vernon. There'll soon be an interview with Mike. I think there's one with me. And you can get a sense of the feel and the music that we'll be using. And, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. This is our proposed cast dream list. We actually have a couple of these people who have already read the script and want to do it. And another actress is reading it right now and interested in doing it. So we're very hopeful that with some finance coming in, we can secure talent.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Oh, and this was kind of cool. You might take a look at that. Go back up one to Otis. This was an idea I thought was just wonderful. In that, one thing we're saying in this, being an Australian film, is that everyone makes it into the future. And so, what a fun idea to, you know, just like, you know, Star Wars and all these other things. You can get a good actor who's not necessarily well known, but perfect for the role. And I thought, you know what? Indigenous actors always get cast as the indigenous guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But what if the romantic lead in a science fiction thing happened to be an indigenous actor? And
Nice.
there are so many classically trained theater actors. I thought it would be a great opportunity to say, you know what? Everyone makes it in the future. He happens to be that. We're not making anything out of it. Don't care about that. But
Yeah.
it's a person who happens to be that. And I think it would break the mold on that, because the romantic lead in this sci-fi adventure could be an indigenous actor. And we're not going to go look at this, indigenous actor we got. He just is. And I think that's something that's fun that you haven't seen come out of a culture like Australia, is that as much as you give representation what they are, they're still being cast as what they are. And you need to break that and have them be anything.
Okay. So yeah. Is it going to be filmed near Broken Hill or anywhere near there?
No, too much mud. I don't think we'll get Vernon anywhere near it, right, Vernon?
No, too many memories.
Yeah, too many memories. What's your big memory of Broken Hill? I don't think I've ever asked you.
A freezing cold ass for 6 weeks.
I was going to say, you were known as Barometer Bum by Mel, I've heard.
Yes. They didn't need to be able to tell how hot or cold it was. They just looked at my rear end and went, "Oh, it's getting cold."
Getting cold out there. That's
that for 6 weeks. That was kind of like my fondest memory of that whole thing.
Trial by bum. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
funny.
Whose design was that? The assless chaps or whatever they're called.
Not mine, actually.
Long John.
I tried really hard not to have that, but I got overruled, and thankfully I did, because it made the costume. But it was funny, because my whole dream at one stage when I first started in this business was to play a Mohawk Indian. I was fascinated with the Mohawk Indians, and then along comes Road Warrior, and I'm basically a Mohawk Indian.
That's
George
true.
was very gracious with me in the final act of the film to give me the war paint on my forehead and across my nose, which was the Mohawk Indian. I had the Mohawk and the whole bit. So I think it kind of played into my own fantasy, if you want to put it that way. And a lot of it also was that High Noon was one of my favorite movies, and the thing where Audie Murphy is standing in the town, and the villain comes walking down, Jack Palance, down the street, and there's this whole silence of the two of them coming together. Well, we did that in Road Warrior with me when I'm standing after we get into the fortress, and Mel is the other side, standing looking at me.
Yeah.
And we just have this face-off looking at each other, the two strong men, like, sort of thing. And all that plays into who I am as a person when I'm talking about films. And that's why I admire Tom. He's taken all the stupidity that I have and managed to make it into something real in the film. So I get to be that character,
Nice.
which is just, to me, amazing. It's like where I live in my head. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have so much fun. It's going to be unbelievable.
Nice.
I think so too. I think a movie's only as good as the antagonist, and also how motivated they are and what their motivations are, how shaded they are. And Vernon is up to be challenged by this. I'm a huge George Miller fan. Just, in fact, I was telling him, I'm like, if he wanted to be on the advisory board, I wouldn't say no for the film. But with Vernon, I think fans out there that are watching this now, this is an opportunity for Vernon to have a forum to take all the knowledge that he has acquired in having the experience of living life and of being an actor, and pouring it into a place that's super concentrated and focused, so that the spirit, the twinkle in the eye of his character is essentially Vernon. But in Island in the Stars, we're going to see him have an opportunity to stretch all of those life experiences into what makes a villain work. Why are they who they are? What's the gray area that they live in? Because a villain is the hero of his own story. And Vernon understands that very much. And so if you're a fan of his work before, it's quite compelling to look at something like this film and go, what if Vernon has an opportunity to stretch all of that, play against some of that, and play against type while at the same time embracing what's made his career for the last 50 years? And as a director, I want to have his back and do that. You know? Yeah.
20 years, 20 years, 20 years.
Oh, 20 years. Okay. We're doing dog years.
20
yeah.
20 years.
20
yeah,
dog years. Okay. Right. 20 years.
Yeah.
So
that's what I like to say in dog
exactly.
years. I'm very young in dog years.
In dog years, you're very young.
But no, yes, I think everything comes about because it should. That's how I look at it. I have got to a point in my life and in my career where something like this becomes an obsession because I am so into what it is. I want so much to be that character. I want to be on the set doing these. I mean, the spaceships, the space, everything about this film is a kid's dream. I grew up on a farm, and the only thing I had that was close to entertainment was every morning before I went to school, I would listen to the serials like Biggles and things like Superman and Batman, you know, those 10-minute things that always ended with tune in tomorrow and see if Superman defies. And
he did.
You're a kid, you're like, oh my God, is Superman going to live? And of course, you're
all right.
Yeah. If he doesn't live, dumbass, they're not going to have a series. So of course he's going to live. But it's just that thing, and that's what this has got. Is, you know, tune in tomorrow. Get what she wants. Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And that to me is the fantasy that all people want to live in. They want to get away from the reality of Congress falling apart, the world falling apart, everything happening, and be able to walk into this fantasy and just live in there for an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes, whatever it is, and be entertained and be able to look at that and go, oh my God, when I was 12 years old, I used to play that character. That is what it's about.
Nice.
That is very true. Like it's funny. Vernon and I even bonded over. You know, I do audio productions. I have a company called Mindstream Players where we do sort of old-fashioned audio fiction. Like I even did a redo with him of Red Wind, the Chandler thing where he played Marlowe. And I've done The Shadow, and then I started migrating to doing a funny version of Flash Gordon, and we have Dracula out now. And
I saw the Dracula coming up.
Yeah, and you know what? The theater of the mind that is the radio, there is no budgetary restriction. You can say, look at that elephant over there, and there's an elephant. And I resonated with it too. You know, we're of two different generations, but I also listened to the radio. As a child, I remember holding a microphone up to a speaker because I couldn't record it off the radio. So I'd record it on a cassette, holding it up, and my arm would get tired. You'd hear the microphone getting further and further from the speaker while I'm recording it. And then I would play it back incessantly, listening, like, why does that work? And what am I imagining? And to me, film is so visual, but if you have the audio down and you have the acting down, the two together are powerful because the ear is much deeper than the eye. It's why you can listen to something for 4 hours and not get as tired as watching something for 4 hours. And I feel like if you can create that theater of the mind when you're writing, then the performance is there, but also your imagination isn't restricted. You're not sitting there self-censoring, going, I can't afford that, or can't do that, or do that. Let your mind roam and think about it as you would as a radio producer or someone who's like, what needs to happen? What is the story? There's plot, but then there's also the story. You know, there's structure there, but at the end of the day, what needs to happen for these characters to go on this journey? And that, again, that discipline, which I am learning my entire life, I'm still learning, that sort of discipline went into Island, where it's like, what sort of adventure do they need to go on? What are the characters, and then what world do they need to live in? Not, oh, I've got this world, I better think of some characters to put into it. You know, which is how a lot of movies and TV shows are doing now, where it's like, oh, it's existing IP, we've got this, and we'll just throw some characters in. And I'm trying to spin that on its head, and everything old is new again, in that the radical idea of this is it's fun, and it's a at least original take on something that's a classic old school Hollywood style movie.
Nice. Well, yeah, definitely what the world needs.
Yep, what he said.
Yep. We'll take his word for it.
Yeah, take his word for it. Yeah.
If you can't trust an Australian, who can't you trust?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We'd never leave you up the garden path, would we?
That's true.
As poor Tom knows, when we were doing that very violent scene with me punching the crap out of him, at one stage there, I just missed time slightly, and I actually hit him, and I just froze for a second, and in Tom's eyes, I was looking at him, I could think, don't you stop, you asshole, just keep going. This is too good.
Now that I'm in pain, we better be using this. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's great. You know, and I left my body briefly. But yeah, again, that's the fun of it. If you're having fun making it, it's going to be fun watching it. Hopefully, if you're a professional, you know, I don't take myself seriously, but I take the work incredibly seriously. And we are going to make this.
Yes.
This crowdfunding is one way, one path. But yeah,
I'll put it in the chat again.
Sure.
It's in the description of the video.
Absolutely, and I encourage people to check out some of the videos and things. And if you have questions about the crowdfunding, have anyone join in, and we can certainly chat.
Yep.
Vernon's open to answering some questions as well.
Nothing about chainmail though. Right.
Yeah.
So there is a question there from Playing Down Under. What happens if they buy a perk but the goal isn't reached?
Well, it's pretty simple. We have one person, a financier, who is willing to make up whatever shortfall we have in order to have it execute. If we fail, you know, to reach that, he will top it off, and you will have your perk, and you will have it. You know, once you bought it, you've got it. Ideally, we will reach the goal without any intervention on it. You know, most people invest in the last week. They put it off, and they're like, yeah. They're doing a thing about a movie, and I care about movies, but not right now. And so we have 8 days left. So if you buy a perk, you will get that perk, and we will top it off. But ideally, that will come from people actually investing in endorsing the film, because the other thing that's important is the more backers it has, the more we can point to the second money and to people that want to look at the level of interest. And if we show a demonstrable level of interest in it, it helps our argument that people do want original things. Because I hear over and over on YouTube, people like, there's nothing original, there's nothing coming out original. Well, we're here now. You're talking to two professionals who want to do something original. Get the perk and let us start the process.
Yes, definitely.
Agree.
An investment for everyone. So if it's all right with you, I've got a young gentleman from the Netherlands that wants to join in just to ask some questions.
Sure.
This is Jeff, all the way from the Netherlands. If I click the right button. There he is.
Hello,
Jeff.
Good evening.
Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, Mr. Konkle. Good evening, Mr. Wells. Glad to be here. Thank you, Gareth, for asking me on.
That's right.
And just have a couple of questions for, obviously, as Mr. Wells can see, I'm a big fan of that film right over there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, you're a fan of Die Hard. I see.
Yeah,
as well, yeah. I have pretty much all my favorite movies as posters on my wall right there, yeah. But no, I'm a big fan of Commando, Mr. Wells, and I just want to ask you a couple of questions.
Before you continue, my name's Vernon.
Yes, I got that. We're dealing with Aussies today.
I was going to say, if I ask the permission, I will call you Vernon, so I will do that as well. Yes,
thank
you,
you.
sir. All right, Vernon. So as you see, I'm a big fan of Commando, so I had a couple of questions about that one.
Okay.
Mostly, sort of, what is your favorite moment or scene from Commando? Because I have a lot, and I'm sure you might have some as well. You know, point being, my favorite probably will be the final fight between you and Arnold, and in sort of the cellar basement area. And it looked like you guys really got into it. It was really an intense fight sequence right there. So that's probably one of mine.
Yeah, that was the classic words for us was two big kids trying to see who could piss up the wall the highest. I mean, we really went for it because we were about the same size, and it got a little out of hand at times. We broke things that we shouldn't have, but basically on each other. But I have a interesting story about that. Is the last sequence where Arnie throws the pipe through me. They were setting me up, and I'm in this rig, this whole rig that they've got on me, and they're rigging it up and they're putting everything out, and they're going to hurl this pipe at me from up on top of a set of stairs on a ladder. And I'm not sort of taking a lot of notice, and suddenly we're getting close to take, and I look up, and there's Schwarzenegger on the top step of the stairs with this pipe in his hand, looking down with a big grin on his face. And when I looked up, he went, "This ain't gonna hurt too much, Bennett." And I went, "I'm dead. I am so dead." And it was just that's the spirit we had in most of the film. We were like big kids enjoying ourselves. We're out there, kicking crap and not worrying about the fact that we were both I got my elbow broken, and Arnie had his shoulder dislocated and fractured. And it was just, we were doing it, and the fight sequences got pretty much like, especially, I thought one of my favorite scenes is when I pull the door off the of the fire and slam him in the head with it. That was so much fun. It was just off wham, and I went, "Oh shit, was I supposed to do that?" That was like that kind of thing. But all through it was kind of fun. The funnest thing, one little story very quickly, was I arrived from Australia 5 weeks after they'd started shooting, I believe, because the director didn't want me in the film originally. He cast someone else. That didn't work, so the producer rang me in Australia, said, "Get your ass over here, you're doing the film." And when I came on the set, I'd been on a plane for 12 hours and I was very tired. And then they put me in a chair, shaved my beard, cut my hair, and put me in a costume that nearly fit. And I was on the set very tired, and I was trying to get my bearings. So when we were and the first scene I shot with Arnold was the one where he's tied to the bench, and I put the knife to his throat and say, if I had my way, I would have cut your throat. But I was sort of, they were rehearsing it, so action on rehearsal, and I was just walking through the thing very slowly, looking where I had to go, looking at Arnold getting it together. And Arnold apparently got a little upset and called Joel Silver, the producer, over, and he said, "I think we might have to cast someone else because he's a bit of a pussy." Australians are very conscious to things like that. Not a good thing to say. So when the director said action, I just sort of went at Arnold, and even though the knife was not real, I slammed it under his chin. And if you watch the movie, you can see how I got under his chin. I pushed up as hard as I could, so I was lifting his head way back. And I said, if I'd had my way, I would have cut your throat. I did this whole thing right in his face. And then when I said cut, Joel walked over and he said, "So what do you think, Arnie?" And he went, "Don't ever give him a real knife." And that was basically awesome. The end of it. We became great friends. But
I did hear that. I did hear that you and Arnold became really good friends over the course of filming there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how you guys were basically like small kids, like doing this. I mean, it shows on film because, yeah, you guys really seem to be having the blast. You know, really having
Yeah.
the time of your lives. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. And since you have done a Arnie impression, I can't resist the Commando fan in me. Can't resist. I have to do a Bennett. Let up some steam, Bennett. I just have to do a little bit of Arnie. I'm such a massive fan,
Like
so
he's
I
here.
couldn't resist.
I've never heard that before. Damn.
I'm sure
That's
if you got
great.
a nickel for every time somebody said that.
You get on the film.
I wouldn't be here. I'd be making my own movie. I'd be right. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah,
That's a
one of
great
my other
story.
questions was actually a favorite memory of Arnold, but I guess you already you answered that, I guess. So I had a different question as well. So you've worked in a lot of different genres of filmmaking, a lot of different sort of types of films, and I was wondering if you have a favorite particular genre that you like to work in, either action or sci-fi or whatever. Is there any genre that really draws
Comedy,
you?
animated, children's, thrillers,
Yeah,
war,
exactly.
Christmas, horror,
Western, yeah.
western.
I guess I'm probably drawn closest to porn, you know, but damn it, they don't do a lot of it.
Just
No,
Shannon Tweed with it.
yeah. You know, to me, it's all comes under the classification of acting to me, and everything that I do, regardless of the genre, is a learning experience, because I get out there and I can put into action everything. And the funny thing is every genre melds into its every other genre if you think about it. Now, what I'm doing in Island in the Stars, there'll be a lot of things from many other films that I've done in the characterization that will come into my brain when I'm putting this together, that I will be able to draw from. I can look at and go, oh shit, that will work because. So I don't think I could actually say this or that, but I love films that stretch me. I love to be put in something where I actually have to think. And I once said to a director, and I can be a facetious shit when I want to be. They rang me up and they wanted me to do this film, and they said, you know, you'll be doing this and that. And it was virtually like giving me the rundown of Commando. And I said, oh, okay. So I said, you know what, I can save you a lot of money. And the director said, oh, you can? How? I said, I'll send you a 6-foot cutout of me and you tow it around the set, and I will just put the dialogue down on tape and send it to you. It was like, seriously, you know, there were just nothing there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wasn't going to be challenged in any way, shape, or form. And I think more than anything, as Tom will tell you, I love to be challenged. I love to be put on the spot and have to think and go, oh, I can do it this way, or I can, you know, there's one scene in Tom's film, Trouble, where I'm walking down the corridor and this old man's standing there with a broom in his hand. He says, oh, you didn't get what you wanted that time. And I just turn and look at him and go, wham, in his slap, and then just walk off. And I say nothing. And it is one of the, and I said to Tom, that is such a fucking brutal moment to do that to this old man, but it's so apropos to who I was. And it's things like that that I love, because it takes you away from the norm. People don't expect it. And suddenly, wham. And I mean, Tom brought it up before. Whenever I play a villain, I don't play him as a villain. I play him as the hero. Because every villain feels he's the hero, and every hero to him is a villain, trying to stop him doing what he wants to do. So there's a whole different mindset. You don't go in going, well, I'm the villain and I'm going to, you go in going, I'm the hero here. I'm trying to achieve this. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to help these people. I can help them by killing all of them, but that's not the point. And then, you know,
just in the way.
Yes. Just, damn it, they go up learn. So you look at it from a whole different angle, and you get a whole different feeling for it. And no, I can't say that I would put any one genre above the other, but Island in the Stars is one of the genres I love, the fantasy. I just love that, because it's so apropos to all of our childhoods.
Yeah,
sure.
you can
Yeah,
tell the
absolutely.
truth with science fiction and comedy. You can tell the truth. That's
Yep.
why I love the two genres of comedy and science fiction. You can look at the human experience. You can look at all these things, and you can be completely honest with the wrapping of, well, it's a faraway place, or I'm just being funny. But at the end of the day, it's funny he brings up the hitting the old man. I call it the opposite of a save the cat moment. There's always a moment where you just go, God, he just hit that old man. I don't like him. And you need that kind of
Yeah.
shorthand, because too many movies you don't feel like the motivation, or the villain. Villain is just being a villain. And so it's always
Just for the
nice
sake
to
of
see in
it.
a movie.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like just a nuance of seeing someone do something like that. You're like, wow, it's like watching someone be rude to a waiter. You're like, I just don't like this person, and so that's something that he and I both agree on. When you're doing something that's a different genre, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, people remember the faces and they remember how they felt, and so the genre is just the wrapping. You have to have something inside that's got some meat on it,
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll just go through some comments here from.
Uh-oh.
There's Michael Myers is here. Says, is he the only one that remembers Fortress? But that is an awesome movie.
I love it.
But Mr. Wells is in
I
there.
think I'm the only one that remembers Fortress. Awesome movie. Yeah, I
He's
did
not in
that
the sequel
Australia.
though.
Sorry?
Another one. Is it? You're not in the sequel though, so.
No, well, I kind
Spoilers.
of come to a very unhappy end.
It's another one that's
The
sort of set.
director actually went. It was so funny because when I work, I don't tend to look at the clock and think I've got to do this now, that then. I just do it. It's how the character comes, how the things come. And that death scene where I get my stomach blown out was supposedly the thing burns out. I just sort of go off that thing, because we're 50,000 feet up in the air, right?
Yeah.
But myself and the lead, we had become very close, and as a pair of idiots. And when that happened, when it went through me, there's this one thing where I look at him like what just happened, and he looks at me, and I put my hand through my body, and then I take my hand out and I look at it and I go, oh, and then I fall off the thing.
I love it.
And when it was over, the director walked up and he went, I gave you a 5-second bloody scene and you made a friggin' movie out of it.
Was that Stuart Gordon? Was that Stuart?
Yeah, that was Uncle Stu. Yeah, it was so funny because he just looked at me and he went, really? Like,
you made more out of it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but it worked. I mean, it was there had to be something there, Sometimes it just works.
Yeah.
But no, I like doing that. That Fortress was great because I was back in home turf and making the movie, and I love working in Australia, as Tom knows.
Yeah.
So this will be fun going there and doing Ireland. We'll be back in all the wonderful places, the amazing people. And Australia has become so big in the film industry now. We've just got all this amazing equipment, amazing crews, special effects companies that win awards continuously. And so it's like a mini it's like a mini Hollywood without the bullshit.
Yeah. That should be on the flag. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's just like a mini Hollywood without the bullshit.
Without the bullshit.
But it's fun. I mean, I love it. I just, I always made a deal with myself. If ever at 4:00 in the morning, and that'll be tomorrow morning, God damn it. If the alarm rings and I roll over in bed and go, I really don't want to get up and do this, it's finished. Because the minute what I do becomes a job, I don't want to do it. Because I do it because I love it, because I love what I do, not because it's a job. And the minute it becomes a job, then I don't want to do it. I'd rather do something else. So I keep wondering when that's going to happen. One morning I'm going to wake up.
Well,
go
that's
on then.
you know what? That's a great headspace to be in, though, Vernon, because they say, do something you love, and you won't feel like you're working a day of your
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
And it really is energizing. I think, so many people. It's funny. I was telling Gareth about the story where it's a slow drip, but you're bleeding. But I think so many people don't ever find their bliss. They don't find the life that they want, and Island is very much about that. But you as an actor found your bliss. You found a place where you could play, and I find I work harder. Like, I'll look up and the sun's coming up when I'm cutting something or something I've directed. I'll look up and I'll be like, is it 6 a.m.? I've been up all night because
Nice.
you want to be doing it and you want to work at it. And yes, you have a great work ethic. Yes, it's a job, but at the same time, it's a passion.
Yes.
And too many people confuse a calling with a passion. It's like acting like it's a calling. No, but if you don't take yourself seriously, but the work seriously, you could go for days where it's like, okay, I've had to be reminded to eat when we're filming. Like when we were doing Trouble, someone would be like, Tom, you haven't eaten in 2 days. What? No, we need to get one more thing. And to me, that's a great way to live, with sort of, radical honesty about what you're doing, but also just find that thing that energizes you before it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nice.
I just love the people I meet. Tom and his business partner and our producers, all the actors involved. Most of the actors involved I've worked with at one time or another. And it's, we were just saying this today. It was really funny because I was on the set and I had 3 women around me, and they were all saying goodbye to me, and like cuddling me and big hugs and saying, we're going to miss you so much because you're so much fun, and doing this whole thing. And the guy that drove me back to the hotel so I could do this said, "How do you do it?" How do I thought he meant acting, and I said, "Well, I've been doing it for a million years, so it comes kind of natural." He said, "No, I mean the women." And I went, "What?" I don't do anything. And then I thought about it, and I thought, you know why people will come and sit with me and talk with me is because I hide nothing. Everybody knows I'm married. Everybody knows I love my wife. I don't hide it. And yet I will talk to the girls and say, God, one of the girls was so beautiful. She had red hair and these green eyes, and reminded me so much of the first girl in my life that I fell in love with was Ira. And so I said to her, oh my God, it was like walking into my past. And we became really close. It really struck her. She went, oh my God, that is so cool. And so we would just talk. And she's married. She's got 3 kids, and as happy as a clam. But she had a soulmate.
Yeah.
Because we could just talk about this stupidity and get a giggle out of it, and everything was fine. And I think that comes over in when I act, is that same attitude towards all the people I work with. I don't go in a movie to be the star. I go in a movie to make sure that everybody else in the movie is the stars. Because, unless the people around us are better than we are, it's going to be a lousy movie. It's that simple.
Okay. Yeah.
So my whole thing is to make sure that everybody's, getting what they want, doing what they want, and they're the ones that people look at and go, God, look at that. Because I enjoy what I get. Don't get me wrong. As Tom knows, I won an award for his film, and I went, yeah, tear it up.
Unfortunately, it was metal. Yeah,
but I was as happy as a clam when I won that award, because I think sometimes to get awards from the audience award or something like that means more to me than from 4 people who decide who's going to be the winner. They have prejudices, so it goes where it goes. But if you get a whole audience that's there and they all go, wow, I love that, and they put your name down, that means we're doing something right.
Yeah, nice.
And that's how I look at it. And this whole thing with Island in the Stars is putting the money together now so we can get all of the things we need to get done to create what we need to create, to be able to get the rest of the budget to put the film together and go into production next year. That is where I live right at this moment, is getting that done. As Tom knows, I'm always trying to find out what we're doing and trying to help as much as I can. And I don't know. I can't say enough about the people I work with, Tom included, and the people I associate with. That it's who I am, what I am, and why I am, and it ain't gonna change, baby. So there.
Very true. Well
Nice.
said. Well said. And
Well said
as you
indeed.
can see, while you're scrolling through that, you can see we're just building.
Yeah.
We're building a world, and we're building a team around this thing. And it's a vision that we have in our heads. My job is to communicate that to the troops that are. I call it. You put everyone around a hole, and the hole is moving, and then you push everyone in the hole at the same time, and that's making a film. And so at the end of the day, he's right. We are focused on making this film happen because we believe in it. It's not just a widget or a thing that we're like, it's just, it ticks off some box somewhere. This is a film that we want to see, and we have the skill set to make the film. We're trying to reach out to people. One of the reasons we're on here is we're trying to reach out to people because discovery is the hardest thing. If you're up against corporations that spend millions and millions advertising and putting themselves out there, well, for people that are independent artists trying to do it, discovery is everything. You have to move a lot of coal to find those few little nuggets inside, and this is part of that sort of outreach. Is we're like, look, we're building this cash register to accept the money. We need people to buy the ticket now, but more importantly, we need to see those eyeballs that are interested in, can we try something different? Can we try something that isn't a reboot of Harry Potter? And nothing against the artisans that originally made those, but when you get an IP that's now coming out that isn't even the people that created it making it, it's not going to have the same passion as Vernon going, I wake up in the morning thinking I want to do it. These are people who inherited a project. They're like, oh yeah, Star Trek. I didn't come up with it, but I'll work on it. And that's a very different mindset than going, I came up with an idea. Let's figure out a way to make it because I just want to see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll put the link in again. It's just paste. And
it was a pleasure talking to you, Jeff.
Books.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure being on here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you take care, Jeff. Right.
Yeah, take care.
Right. Okay, we'll go through.
Yeah, we scared him off.
Well, I sent him away. He's under the temp.
You banished him.
We'll just go through it again. Just
sure.
On the end here, and then I'll have one more question. And then...
Yeah. If you have any questions about perks, by all means, feel free to ask.
Yeah, let's have a look. The booty perk.
Yes.
Let's go through some of this. What's that then?
So at this level, if you click on it, I think it'll expand out.
At this level, there's a link to that. There we go.
There you go. At this level, you're endorsing the film and saying, look, I want to be part of it for the smallest amount of money. You still get a digital copy of the poster. You can be part of it, as far as a entry level sort of perk to go, you know what, it's worth it. I'll throw in, £3.
Yeah.
That's okay. Or €3 or whatever you do. And
you don't need to
at
pay
that
postage
level,
or anything.
Yeah, exactly. As we move up, like Crush Your Barnacles and other things, you're starting to get into that area of buying the ticket. That's where you're getting a digital soundtrack. You're getting a copy of the poster. As you move up that, you're starting to get a digital copy of the actual film. The reason these lower level perks are digital is because, Vernon and I as producers have to be realistic. We can't manufacture for $3 people a Blu-ray or something, because we'll lose money on the deal. But the way with digital technology is we can deliver all this stuff at a low cost. It's still a thank you. You're still getting it before anybody else. But we're not physically making something that we can't promise you that we can get to you. We don't want to spend more money delivering the perk than we're actually making towards the film. So when you get in these higher areas, as you can see right now, where you're getting shot across the bow, you're starting to get credits, but there's a Blu-ray copy of the film in there, and that will be an exclusive first-run Blu-ray copy of the film. So you've essentially bought the ticket now when Vernon and I need it. And that ticket shows, hey, here's someone that said, I would buy a ticket, I would see this, I'd buy a Blu-ray of this. You know, I'm a big fan of physical media, and I think that's a way of us going, here you go, we appreciate what you did. And as you can see, it's cumulative. As you go up, you get more things, but also you're getting the things that you got prior to that.
Parlay.
As you get, parlay with us is a fun one where you actually get to interact with us a bit. You get to talk to us. There's a 10-minute Zoom call with Vernon and I where we can talk about film, we can talk about what we're doing on the movie, all kinds of things about shared passions. A collector's edition, a book or a coffee table book, and then the physical meet and greets. You know, I don't know if you're a fan of conventions and Comic-Con type things, but this is where you can actually have a meet and greet and sit down and enjoy a nice, say a dinner or something with us, and actually feel part of the film, and we can discuss it, and we can meet you and thank you in person for enrolling yourself in the film.
There you go. Meet and greet.
Krista, she's wonderful. Yeah. Now that's Mike there when he's where I'm gesturing. Oh, this could be yours, lad. That's
the
Mike
world is yours.
Yeah, the whole world's yours, lad. And that's Mike. Mike is a award-winning visual effects artist, producer. He does large format attractions for China and all kinds of companies. So he will be supervising the VFX, and he's intrinsic. He and I started the script together because we really wanted to see if we could apply all the skills in one place.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is Hero's Journey. We talked about Joseph Campbell, very much a reference to that. And that's Emily Coop, who is a singer-songwriter. If you Google Emily Coop, you can see her album and some of her stuff. But she's a scrappy Australian actress who, when I met her, I was like, my God, you're Carrie Fisher and Jane Seymour in one package.
Oh, nice.
She's great and so fun, and she embodied the character. And Vernon and she worked on a shoot for me where we were just testing out camera equipment and things. And once I saw them together playing back and forth and how they kind of sparred back and forth with the dialogue, I was like, it's perfect. Casting is 70% of a movie. I'd say almost 80% of a movie is casting. And we're lucky to have someone like that.
Oh, press the wrong button.
And those indeed, Gareth, those are the ones we were talking about before, where it's like a master class.
Completely messed up.
There you go.
Go back.
Yeah. Those are the ones where we want to give back and sort of have a little master class.
Let me get back to it.
Where you can have some
hang on.
There you go.
Gone too far. I don't get it.
You go too far, sir.
Sure. Oh, yeah, I went too far. Hang on.
You'll note with interest, someone's already gotten the Leviathan perk.
Double
we
click.
were really happy to see someone got the Leviathan perk, which is the 5,000 level. They're going to be a red. They're on the red carpet. We actually had a Zoom call where we had Vernon send them a very nice video message, which anyone buying that perk gets. We include you in some production meetings. You actually get a proper EP credit, producing credit. You are included in the red carpet. You're going to be there for the premiere. So if it's your bliss to go, you know what, I just want to know what it's like one time to meet the actors and feel, and know that I materially had something to do with this happening.
Yeah,
that's the perk to look at. That one's a lot of fun. If I loved movies and cinema and was not involved in the business, I would probably go for something like that at least once in my life. Because when do you ever get to be on a red carpet where it's your movie?
Yes, exactly. That's very very worth it. Right. So I'll let you two go in a second after my final question. Now, Mr. Vernon, of course. in a space.
Oh God!
what was the vibrating attachment you had on your hand?
A very large dildo. It was actually
this is a children's film.
Yes, it was actually a joke because Stephen was in England doing Batteries Not Included, and he produced the film. So every couple of days, they would send dailies over to him for him to look at, and what we were shooting, what we weren't, if we need to shoot something. And every so often we would put something in it just to stir Stephen a little bit. And we did that scene, and we did the thing. And as a joke, Stephen thought it was great and left it in the film. And we went, okay, that's not going to work.
That's the level.
That's the way it goes. But, yeah, it's actually, the funny thing is, in that film, everybody thinks I can't talk, but there's one scene where my boss, the wonderful lady that played my boss, is walking backwards and forwards berating me about letting them go and losing them in all the crap. And as she's walking back and forth berating me, at one stage she says something, and I go, and she just as I put my finger up to say it, she looks at me and says, "Don't say it." So I can talk, but I don't. And that was another one of Stephen's little things with me. He took away all of my, as he called them, tools. My eyes, my voice, and my hands. So let's see if you can act now. It's like, yeah. Sheesh.
Well, it still scared me as a kid, so.
No, it was a great film. I enjoyed it. I had fun doing it. It was just one of those silly, wonderful things where you get to blow smoke out of the end of your finger and
yes,
go inside someone and float around in a little machine and fight someone else. Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Nice. It was great to watch.
I want to know how he digested all of us. Actually, he's got two metal craft in his stomach and bits and pieces of me. I mean, he had a strong constitution, that boy.
That's a lot of fiber. A lot of fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was never in the sequel. We never got. But anyway, thanks to these two gentlemen, Vernon and Tom, for joining me, and I'll be promoting the shit out of this going on. So.
Thank you. We're grateful for that. We truly are grateful. Anytime someone takes an interest, getting someone to shine a light on this means a lot to us. And your support in retweeting, and I invite anybody that cares about it, if you could retweet it and pass it on, that's the best kind of recommendation.
Yeah, it's in the description. It's in the
Thank you.
Community tab. It's in.
I know what you mean. It's late there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's late. Yeah.
It's work tomorrow.
And I appreciate you having both of us on, and I do apologize for the in and out that I was doing. It was kind of fun there. I actually had to find a place in the room where it just kept constant. And I've been sitting here, and now my shoulder aches and my arm aches from holding my phone in this exact position so it wouldn't go out.
Well,
so I hope you know what I went through. Damn it!
I salute you, sir. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. Don't forget to, Jeff's already getting his money in. So there you go.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Jeff. Great questions, and anytime I get to share the stage with Vernon, I'm a happy camper.
Well,
so thanks for having us.
Great double act. Take it on the road.
Absolutely.
Right, they probably will if we're not careful.
That's right.
All right.
Too right.
Thanks anyway. All right. Thanks for everyone for joining.